any party, there's always conflicts. And whether it is a ruling party or the opposition, the conflict does exist and do exist and continue to exist. The opposition, they have their conflict. PAS and DAP definitely has a very wide divide. If there is no outside interference, if we go by the constitution, our conflicts can be resolved. When the due process is not allowed, when we politicize and where we have external pressure or external solution provided for an internal conflict, it may not resolve the conflict from within. Many a time when we take actions based on constitution, outside forces dictate to us based on their perception and their value system of what is politically correct. So things were taken out of our hand and out of our control. What we are doing could be legally according to the constitution and politically correct, and morally correct as well, but it's politically incorrect outside the party. So it is so simplistic for people outside the party to prescribe a solution based on fresh election. I have the people who dictate to us to say we have a fresh election really discuss, understand our structure, what is the conflict, what is the root of the problem. To have a fresh election, you must fit the criteria that it is the constitution is supreme. We have to think of the implication of having a premature fresh election. You don't dictate a fresh election just to fulfill the lust of the challenging forces who are out to grab political power. Firstly, the media, the way they report, they make it so simplistic. Just because so and so says, I'm prepared to have fresh election. But have they called for a meeting? Have we been consulted? Have we actually laid down on the table what is the pros and cons, the implication, the legality, the political correctness, before we say, okay, I'm prepared for a fresh election? Must we succumb and give in? And this decision may be detrimental to the party because we are setting a very dangerous precedent of having fresh election, of an undue election. And two, we are going for an election merely to satisfy the lust of individuals and organized group. The spirit of the law must be there. We don't preach the rule of the law, but at the same time we disregard the law. We don't talk about democracy, at the same time we have a situation whereby the minority disregard the majority. We don't talk about the constitution, whereby on the other hand we are having a small group of aggressive minority telling us to disregard the constitution. We are actually moving towards a society whereby accountability is of utmost importance to the people. And this again, I would say, is not an MCA problem. These are problems of individuals concerned. It is not fair to put a blanket, this is MCA. People who are involved, perceived to be involved, seem to be involved, or tainted with the possibility of being connected, they must come clean for themselves, for MCA, for Barisan Nasional, and for the Dato Sri Najib has only taken over about 8 months. I think he has done a lot under the present circumstances. In this case, our Prime Minister is moving in the right direction. And he is taking very brave, positive steps forward without regard for racial, religious sentiment in the larger context of the interest of the people and the country. And the opposition, instead of contributing ideas towards pengisian, towards the content, instead of contributing debate positively towards a positive vibration, they are trying to make a mockery of a good concept. One Malaysia is moving forward by trying to include and incorporate the values and the aspirations of Malaysians as a whole. I do not want to be mean to Pakatan, but they are way behind Barisan Nasional. They cannot even form the Pakatan. What took them so long to register? Because the Prime Minister is doing, they are coming up with alternative. But how many of their promises in the past election has been delivered? Whereas Barisan Nasional, we have to be responsible in our decisions, because in future we still have to account. When it comes to the local government election, the prime obstacle again past, if there is an election in Ipoh, most of the local councillors will be non-Malays and non-Muslims. Again, the racial reality comes in. If we have a local election, DAP is going to win a lot of the urban areas. DAP ought to come out and admit that they had failed to deliver their promise in the past election, that they want a local government, because the racial element is still very prevalent. I think we are at a crossroad, political crossroad. At this crossroad, if we misstep, we are going to head to greater confusion, greater chaos, greater lies, and once this happens, there will be a point whereby there will be a crisis situation, and outside forces will exploit and take advantage. Malaysians, whether of all walks of life, whether you are Chinese, Indian or Malay or Kazakh, or whether you are Christian, Muslims or Buddhist, we must start to think of the country, one Malaysia. I don't think there will be a snap election somewhere in the middle of the year, because the Prime Minister is just starting his first step. He will want to need some time to show that he is second and third step, to convince the people that he is moving towards a certain direction. Whether I am given an opportunity or not is very uncertain. In politics, you do not have a mindset. If you have a mindset, then you will not be able to accept the political reality. If I'm not an elected rep, but I'm prepared to serve, I will still be given some opportunities to serve in other forms. Like now, I'm serving the party. For a start, 2010 should be a beginning of a new decade. For MCA, I call upon the minority must respect the majority. If you do not respect the very fundamental principle of democracy, minority respect majority, you do not, you're not fit to be a leader. As far as the Barisan Nasional is concerned, I have the utmost confidence that Dato Sri Najib is taking the right path, is leading us towards the right path. We must give him the full support